Hey there, YouTubers. Welcome to our next installment on clarinet mouthpieces. We're going to title this episode The Inside Scoop because we're going to talk about the inside of the mouthpiece this time. You'll recall in the previous video we talked a little about facings, and we mentioned that the facing primarily determines, not solely, but primarily because the mouthpiece is an integrated whole, that the facing primarily determines what we feel in terms of response and resistance. And that has mostly to do with feel. There's also some effect on the sound, of course, but mainly it's feel, response and resistance. When we go inside the mouthpiece, we're going to find all those things that we hear and that the listener hears being determined a lot by the interior of the mouthpiece, the bore and the chamber. But before we go on and talk about that, first of all, I want to thank everyone who's subscribed, and also anyone out there who would like to have some questions about mouthpieces answered. I'll be glad to answer them if you'll drop us an email at sales, S-A-L-E-S, at riddenhourclarinetproducts.com. I'll be happy to respond to those in a video that we're going to be preparing on mouthpieces that does answer your direct questions. So please send those in, and so you can contribute to the information that I'm going to be sharing with everyone. And I'm sure if you're interested in it, other clarinet players are interested in it too. So don't be shy about writing and asking. So remember, there are no such thing as dumb questions, only dumb answers, and I'm going to be supplying those. Okay. So having said that, let's go on and begin talking about the interior of the clarinet mouthpiece. The major factors in determining the pitch level of the mouthpiece are the bore, and the total length, and the total volume of the mouthpiece. The French-style clarinet mouthpiece has a conical bore. It is smaller at the top and flares to a larger diameter at the bottom of the mouthpiece as it enters the barrel. Larger bore mouthpieces produce lower overall pitch, lower throat tones, and slightly higher altissimo tones, while smaller bore mouthpieces produce higher overall pitch, higher throat tones, and lower third register. Large bore mouthpieces usually range from 589 thousandths to as high as 595 thousandths or 15 millimeters. Small bore mouthpieces range from 580 thousandths to 585 thousandths or 14.85 millimeters. Mouthpieces usually vary in length from 88 millimeters to 91 millimeters. Extremes above or below these lengths usually cause general tuning problems as well as make the clarinet play out of tune with itself. Mouthpiece lengths can be measured with a caliper or just a common millimeter rule. Bores are usually measured with a tapered bore gauge. Some mouthpiece makers have gauges specially made. Others use those commercially available from various suppliers who sell mouthpiece gauging and finishing tools. The chamber includes the baffle and the sidewalls. They exert the highest influence on tone color and shape. The baffle controls and affects tone color more than anything else. Greater or lesser baffle depth can also affect total volume and contribute to the bore in influencing general overall pitch. The sidewalls of the clarinet mouthpiece primarily control the shape. They also contribute greatly to stability and dynamic changes. The wider a chamber is, the less concentrated the sound will be, and the less stable it will be in dynamic changes. On the positive side, wide sidewalls will give a great deal of flexibility to the sound. In contrast, narrow sidewalls contribute to stability and focus and concentration in the clarinet sound. The A-frame shape, which is seen in some older design mouthpieces, tries to split the difference and provide a reasonable amount of both flexibility and stability. Okay, with that, you've got the inside scoop on how mouthpieces influence pitch, color, and shape, and also tuning. and not to mention stability, which is also a very, very important issue. And with that, I think we pretty much completed our empirical examination of the mouthpiece, except for examining the outside, talking about materials and talking about dimensions of the outside and how those things influence your experience of playing mouthpieces. You'll notice in this video that I don't really give any hard numbers as far as exactly what a chamber width should be, exactly what a depth should be, and so on and so forth. And this is because when you're talking about mouthpieces, you're looking in terms of general categories. These things I've discussed are helpful when you're comparing one mouthpiece to another to help you better evaluate your experience of playing the mouthpiece. If it has very good concentration, you can usually see that in the chamber. The chamber is really quite narrow. If it has a certain depth of sound or a certain pitch characteristic, you can normally see that when you measure or examine the bore of the baffle, and so on and so forth. Anyway, these things are generally helpful to you when you look at mouthpieces, and I hope that they improve your ability to pick more appropriate equipment for the kind of playing that you want to do. And I'm sorry it took so long to do this, but it was quite a bit of effort to put the video, to put the graphic things together, to do all the drawings, and I only have a limited amount of time to do this. But anyway, I hope it is beneficial to you, and again, thank you all for continuing to watch. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to our videos. If you want some subjects discussed, please contact me. I'll be more than happy to consider those things. I'm sure, as I keep saying, if you're interested in it, everybody else is too. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.